Our distance time graph, starting from 0, shows us this object is accelerating because the slope of the line is increasing. Remember, the slope of the line is distance divided by time and hence speed. At t equals 0, the slope is 0 because the object starts from rest, and we can see here the line is parallel to the x-axis. We'd like to know the speed at t equals 1.0 seconds. Now, we can't use our average speed formula because that straight line there may not actually match at this point, and it doesn't actually work for the value. We can't subtract these 2 points, although it would be an okay estimate, because that may not be perfectly on the line, and again, the line is changing slope. However, we can estimate using a tangent at this point. So let's insert a shape, a straight line, and we will simply draw the line very roughly. Now we move it so it's just touching. Now it's too steep. We can see here it's touching about here and the separation is not correct, but I can move the ends. Now with a quick estimate, I can see my curve seems to be fairly consistent on either side. And so this blue line is a reasonable estimate of a tangent and therefore a reasonable estimate of the speed at t equals 1.0 seconds. It may be out by a few percent and it doesn't really matter. I'm now going to insert a new shape. And in this case, it'll simply be a text box so I can record some calculations. Now I need to insert a marker, t equals 1.0 seconds. I can see some points here. Now I have a nice crossing here. I can see the line crosses this intersection here very clearly. So that's t equals 2 seconds and the speed is 0.4, 0.8. So I have a point 2, 8.8. And I've also got this point here, which is 0.50. So the slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and we'll use this as y2, it's the higher value, equals 8.8 minus 0 over 2 minus 0.5, and that equals 8.8 on 1.5, and we'll use a calculator very quickly to find that value. 8.8 divided 1.5 equals 5.87. So we'll put in 5.87 meters per second. So we now have a reasonable estimate of the speed at t equals 1.0 seconds. I'm now going to repeat the process for t equals 0.5 seconds, t equals 1.5 seconds, and t equals 2.0 seconds, and I'll clean that up. To make life easier, I will keep the video rolling, but I won't use voiceover, and I'll simply accelerate the process when the video is published.